the Galaxy Bridge Cultural Exchange Program had become one of the most watched and celebrated events across Alliance space. A yearly celebration where different species showcase their cultures, arts, achievements, and people. This year, Earth was hosting, and as part of the elaborate festivities, humanity had organized a unique event, selecting representatives who embodied various human ideals and cultural values, including beauty. The selection process was elaborate and extensive, involving public voting, expert panels, media coverage, and analysis that reached billions of people across Earth. When the final results were announced for Earth's Most Beautiful Woman, a title that had generated enormous attention and debate, the winner surprised virtually everyone. She wasn't human. Sira Ventilith, a Thessaran cultural liaison who'd been living on Earth for 3 years, won by an overwhelming margin. The detailed voting results showed that humans across Earth had found her distinctive features: the long, elegant ears, the graceful bearing, the expressive eyes, more aesthetically captivating than any of the human candidates. The media erupted in response. Some celebrated it as proof of humanity's genuine openness to alien beauty. Others debated whether a non-human should have been eligible for the competition. But the overwhelming response was intense fascination with Sira herself. Overnight, she became the most photographed, discussed, and sought-after individual on Earth. Her image was everywhere. Major brands wanted her endorsement. Media outlets competed for exclusive interviews. People everywhere wanted to see her, meet her, be photographed near her. Sira handled the sudden attention with practiced grace but obvious personal discomfort. She'd entered the competition as a cultural gesture, representing the exchange program, never genuinely expecting to win. Now she was trapped in a spotlight she had never wanted. At a mandatory public appearance, an elaborate gala celebrating the cultural exchange, Sira was surrounded constantly by admirers. Everyone wanted her attention, wanted to be seen with Earth's Most Beautiful Woman, wanted something from her. Marcus Webb, a cultural documentation specialist, was there to professionally record the event. He was watching from the periphery, documenting the elaborate spectacle with professional detachment. He noticed that Sira, despite being surrounded constantly by admirers and praise, looked profoundly lonely. During a break in the formal gala proceedings, Sira escaped to a balcony for air. The crowd inside was overwhelming, everyone staring, everyone wanting something from her, no one seeing past the title. Marcus was already there, reviewing footage on his camera. He glanced up when she entered, nodded politely, and returned to his work. Sira was genuinely surprised. Everyone else stared constantly. This human barely looked. "You're not going to ask for a photo?" she said. Marcus looked up again. "Should I? I've already documented the event pretty thoroughly. Unless you want me to take one specifically of you out here, but that seems intrusive given you clearly came out here to escape attention. You don't want to meet Earth's Most Beautiful Woman?" There was something distinctly bitter in how she said the title. "I'm meeting you right now. Whether that specific title is relevant depends on whether you want it to define this conversation." Sira sat on the balcony railing. "You're the first person all evening who hasn't immediately mentioned it. It seems like everyone else is mentioning it plenty. Figured you might appreciate a break from that." They talked, not about beauty or the competition or her sudden overwhelming fame. Marcus asked what had brought her to Earth originally. She explained she was a xenolinguist, had come to study human language evolution, found the work fascinating enough to extend her stay. He told her about cultural documentation work, about trying to capture authentic cultural moments before they're polished for official presentation. "Like this event?" she asked. "This event is the polished presentation. The authentic moments are usually quieter. Fewer cameras, more actual human connection. I miss authentic moments. Everything feels performative now. Everyone sees the title, not me." "So when you're not being Earth's Most Beautiful Woman, what are you?" "A linguist who genuinely loves obscure dialects and gets too excited about grammatical structures that shouldn't work but somehow do. Someone who makes terrible tea because I always forget it's steeping. A person who moved across space to study something she found fascinating and is now trapped in a role she never wanted." That sounds substantially more interesting than a title. Over the following weeks, Marcus and Sira kept encountering each other, partly by chance, partly because Sierra started deliberately attending events she knew he'd be documenting. They developed a genuine friendship. Marcus was one of the very few people who treated her the same as before she'd won the competition. He didn't stare, didn't make her beauty the constant focus of every interaction, didn't treat her as an object to admire rather than a person to actually know. "Why don't you react to me the way everyone else does?" she asked one day. "React how specifically? Like I'm something extraordinary to look at. Everyone stares constantly. Even people consciously trying to be polite, you don't. You're beautiful, I noticed that immediately. But you're also smart, funny, passionate about your work, and frustrated by your current situation. Those things seem more relevant to actually knowing you than what you happen to look like. Most people can't seem to get past the appearance. That's their limitation, not yours." Sierra found herself falling for him. Not because he was somehow unaware of her beauty, he clearly wasn't oblivious, but because he treated it as one aspect of who she was rather than the defining feature. One evening, at an event where she was once again surrounded by admirers treating her like a beautiful object to admire, she escaped to find Marcus. "I hate this," she admitted. "Everyone wants to be near Earth's most beautiful woman. No one wants to actually know me as a person. I want to know you. Why? What makes you different from everyone else? I don't know if I'm genuinely different. Maybe I'm just more interested in people rather than titles. You won a competition based on appearance. That tells me what you look like, not who you are. Who you are is substantially more interesting. You're the only person who makes me feel like a person rather than a trophy to display. You are a person. A person who happens to be beautiful but who's also brilliant at linguistics, makes terrible tea, and is currently trapped in a role you never wanted. The beauty is just what you look like, it's not who you are." The cultural exchange program concluded after several months. Sierra was scheduled to return to her home system. Her work visa was expiring, and the intense media attention had made actually staying on Earth overwhelming. Marcus helped her prepare to leave, packing research materials, organizing documentation. "I don't want to go," she admitted, "but I can't stay like this. Being Earth's most beautiful woman has made actually living here impossible." "What if you stayed without being that?" The title was specifically for the duration of the cultural exchange. Once that's officially over, you're just Sierra Ventilith, xenolinguist. The media will move on to the next thing. You think people will actually forget. I think people will stop caring once you're not actively in the spotlight. The title made you a spectacle. Remove yourself from that context, and you're just someone doing interesting linguistic research. And you, would you want me to stay? I'd want you to stay if you want to stay. Not because of a title or appearance or anything external. Just because you're someone I genuinely value knowing. Sierra made the difficult decision to apply for a research extension. The media attention did fade as Marcus predicted. Once she stopped attending events or making public appearances, people lost interest. She became what she'd wanted to be, a linguist doing work she loved. She and Marcus developed a genuine relationship. Not based on her winning a beauty competition or his being unaffected by appearance, but on shared interests, compatible personalities, and genuine connection. When people asked how they got together, Sierra's version was honest. "I won a competition I never wanted to win. Everyone saw the title, the appearance. He saw me, the actual person underneath. That made all the difference." And Marcus's perspective. "Everyone was captivated by how she looked. I was more interested in who she was. Turned out who she was is someone I genuinely like spending time with. The appearance is nice, but it's not why I wanted to know her." Years later, Sierra was still on Earth, still doing linguistic research. She occasionally got recognized from that brief period when she'd been Earth's most beautiful woman, but mostly she was just Dr. Ventilith, a respected xenolinguist. She and Marcus were partners, not formally married, but committed in their own way. Their relationship was built on genuine compatibility rather than attraction to a title or image. When students asked Sierra about the competition and what it had been like being selected as Earth's most beautiful woman, she was honest. "It was profoundly isolating. Everyone saw the title, the appearance. They treated me like something to admire rather than someone to know as a person. The competition judged me on how I looked, and suddenly that's all anyone cared about. But looking beautiful and being known as a person are completely different things. One person looked past the title and saw me. the linguist who gets excited about grammar, who makes terrible tea, who wanted to be valued for her mind, not her face. That person became my partner because he understood that beauty is just what I look like, not who I am. And Marcus, when asked about dating someone who'd been selected as the most beautiful woman on earth, the title was always irrelevant to me. She's a brilliant linguist doing fascinating work. She challenges my thinking. She's funny. We have compatible interests. Those are the things that matter in a relationship. The fact that she won a beauty competition is just context, interesting historical trivia about her life, but not relevant to why we work together. Chosen as Earth's most beautiful woman, the alien captivated a human's heart, became their story about how titles can trap people in roles they never wanted, how true connection requires seeing past appearance to person, and how the most meaningful relationships